Hey everyone, it's Alice and I'm here today with July's FairyLoot Adult unboxing. So as normal, there have been so many different theme announcements and book announcements that I actually can't remember what the theme is for this one. I've got a feeling I know what the book is, but that also might be August's book. So we're going to have a nice surprise opening this together and I'm going to crack on with it now. Wow. Oh, okay, so yes, I'm right about what the book is. The theme is Eternal Power, and this looks suspiciously like the UK cover for Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, which is Chloe Gong's first book that's being marketed as adult, I believe. And it's like Antony and Cleopatra in like a dystopian world. So I'm very interested in this one. It's the first Chloe Gong book that's made me quite excited to pick it up. I do have These Violent Delights, a couple editions actually, but I still haven't actually read any of that series yet. I don't know why I'm putting it off. I think it's probably because of the hype, but because this is the first book in a different series, I'll probably try this one first and see how it goes. I'm quite interested to see what FairyLoot have done with their edition, because this is actually going to be the very first Owl Crate adult book as well. So I have subscribed to that and I will be showing you an unboxing of that when it arrives. So the fact that Owl Crate's first pick is is a Snapsy with FairyLoot is very unsurprising, because Owl Crate and FairyLoot do overlap a lot. But it'll be interesting to see what Owl Crate have done with their redesign, because the US cover and the UK cover are very different. And I want to see what FairyLoot have done with this, so I'm just going to get it out now. Okay, so we have an art card with an author letter on it. I'll make sure that the artist for that is credited on the screen if I can find out who's done it, because FairyLoot don't put... Do they put on the spoiler cards? Where have I got... This is why I don't stand up. I lose everything. Spoiler card? Where did you go? Here! I put it down nicely. This is going terribly. Yes, so there is an author letter on the back of a character card designed by Paulson Art. Then we have a slightly redesigned cover. I don't think it's a redesign so much as a colour change, because it's normally a bit more greeny, I think. Unless they just haven't changed the cover at all. It says, tear down a lover, rebuild the kingdom. And it's got 5786. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but they're kind of like slightly invisible numbers. So I'm guessing that must be relevant to the story. You've got the stenciled edges there with the cover on them. I can see what people mean. I've seen people complaining about the quality of FairyLoot's stenciled edges recently. I didn't know that this was one of the books that was impacted by that. But you can actually see that because of the way that the book is bound. It's a sewn bound book. And you can actually see it's almost like steps down the design because of the way that the book is printed together. It doesn't really change the quality of the sprayed edges as much as some people have been making out. But I think because of the detailing on those sprayed edges, it does mean that they're not as crisp as they probably otherwise would have been. But still very, very beautiful. Then we have character art on the end papers. And I'm guessing probably a different art at the back. Yep, so you've got a lady stood with a sword at the front. And then a man stood with like a scythe at the back there. And those artworks are by Paulson Art as well. And then we have a foil design on the hardcover by Sarah Mercer Art. Wow, that's beautiful. That is just that's just what they should have gone with. Just go with that, because it's such a stark image and I think that's a lot more interesting to look at than the cover. Like, that pops off the shelf. That makes me want to pick this up even if I don't know anything about it. This looks a little bit more kind of intimidating to me. And then we've also got a reversible dust jacket that also looks like it's by Paulson Art. And I like that because it's actually got the title and the author's name on it, and it's got the title on the spine, which a lot of the reversible dust jacket artworks don't have. But it's also, again, quite plain. Like, compared to the normal cover, I quite like just having the character there, but the back feels a little bit bare, even if you do have this little cat sat down here, who I'm hoping is relevant to the story. It's a very interesting piece of artwork because it almost looks like a photograph rather than an illustration. It's like a real different style compared to FairyLoot's normal style. But again, interesting to see, not the kind of redesign I'd expected them to go with. So I will just read out the blurb of the book so that we know a little bit more about it. Number New York Times bestselling author Chloe Gong's adult epic fantasy debut, inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, as I thought it was, is a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood and romance amidst a set of deadly games. Every year, thousands flock to San-Er, the dangerously dense capital twin cities of the Kingdom of Talent, where the palace hosts a set of deadly games. Those confident in their ability to jump between bodies can enter a fight to the death for the chance to win unimaginable riches. Princess Kala Tuolimi has been in hiding for 5 years, ever since she murdered her parents to free the people of Talin from her tyrannical family. Only one person stands in her way of finishing the job, her reclusive uncle, King Kassa. However, she knows he always greets the victor of the games. If she wins, she will finally get the chance to kill him. Enter Anton Makusa, whose childhood love has lain in a coma since they were both ousted from the palace. He's deep in debt trying to keep her alive, which means his last chance at saving her is entering the games and winning. When Anton proposes an unexpected alliance with Kala, they quickly find their partnership spiralling into something all-consuming. But before the games close, Kala must decide what she's playing for, her lover or her kingdom, for no matter what, only one of them can walk out alive. I do remember being very, very intrigued by this whole description because I think the stakes are so high and it does sound like a very intense book. But I will be honest, I was expecting it to be a bit longer because that seems like there's an awful lot going on in a book that's probably like maybe 400 pages at the very most. 392. That was not a very far off guess. So I think that it's an interesting choice. And I mean, I'm going to read it and I'm going to see what it's like, but it's definitely not the length that I was expecting. And I think it's the first book in a series, but don't quote me on that because it might end up being a standalone, but it definitely sounds like there's more going on in this than would fit in just a standalone. But yeah, in conclusion, interesting edges, but I'm also kind of getting a little bit sick of this whole just putting the cover on the edges thing because it does seem a little bit of an easy choice, and I quite liked it when FairyLoot would put like motifs from the books to make it a bit more interesting, and like they'd done a bit of a deeper reading of the title before they'd chosen it. I really, really love this Under the Dust Jacket design. I think that that's a much more interesting cover and is very stark. A little bit disappointed that there's nothing on the back because that feels a little bit plain. If we'd had like the girl's face in the blue foil on the front and the boy's face in the blue foil on the back, that would have then mirrored nicely with the end papers where you've got the girl at the front and the boy at the back. But I'm guessing that was probably just like either time constraints or maybe it was a lot more expensive to do foiling on the back as well. And again, like, interested in this alternative dust jacket, like the fact that they're going with authors' names and titles on them now. But again, you could have had the girl at the front, the boy at the back, and kind of made it look a bit more interesting. Unless the boy is the cat, because it does say about being comfortable switching bodies. So, I mean, if the boy is the cat, all of my complaints are gone. But then why isn't there a cat on the back over here? Yeah, again, not the most stunning edition that I've seen FairyLoot produce, but I really like the artists that they've chosen to go with this time, and again, I'm very excited to read the book, and that's the most important thing. Thank you for watching this unboxing. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of this edition. If you ordered this edition, if you're glad that you got it. If you've got a different edition, which ones that you prefer. Because I know there's quite a few of these floating around the market. I think Waterstones did an exclusive as well. And obviously we will have the Owlcrate unboxing up when it arrives. So make sure to check back for that and see what Owlcrate's first adult book looks like. I'm Alice. This is the Bumbling Blogger. Thank you for watching and we'll see you again soon with another video. Bye! I don't, I've just frozen. That doesn't normally happen. It's the standing up. It's so stressful.
Do you know the theme?
No.